Oh, I am sleepy. I am somewhat sleepy and sleeping. It be just that's a good indicator of how sleepy. I was gonna say long day at work. That's not necessarily true, but I don't know. I'd like to spend my time doing other things than random manual labor. That's me though. Mayhaps, perhaps you should sleep. No, because regardless, I need to get comic work done, so. But hello, Paula. Hello, Pig. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Lord. I just think about this, because this is the kind of day it was. Because people around me will be like, you know, not everyone, but certain folks, and then of course you have people on the internet who will say these things, but like, you're on your phone so much, and I'm like, yeah, well, I am just mentally bored all the time. Because I'm literally none of my very few daily plans I have interest me, because they mostly include going to work. You know, day job isn't piquing my interest at the moment. Sorry to say. So, but yeah, but. You know, we're gonna fix that a bit here, because we're gonna work on my comic. I like my comic. You know, I want to be like, you know, I'm gonna follow that up by being like, I don't know who else does, but I do have people tell me they like my comic, even if I kind of know them beforehand. I still appreciate it. Still nice to hear. But let's get into it. This is the last comic. Not bad. This middle panel is a little empty. I realized after the fact, but all in all, I like it. I also like how I drew Lindsay here. I don't think I've had either of these characters say their name in the comic in universe yet. That's a problem for later. I don't have to care about that now. I don't know how many people are... I will say this, I don't know how many people read the comic. Not that many on the grand scheme of things. And almost certainly less of them read, like, the Patreon info and yada yada yada, so... Probably these characters' names are not widely out there, and I'm okay for that at the moment. I'll get to it later. It's a weekly comic strip. I can't just fucking info dump. I say that I did have. Oh my lord! Hello. What? Oh, this is upsetting. I should really lock this layer. Why haven't I done that before? I don't know. But clearly I'm... Oh wait. I can also do this. Make sure it's somewhat lined up. They're all over the ding-dang place. My line art. My gemerals. Bum bum ba-dum bum bum. Yeah. It is Wednesday. So only 2 days left to the weekend. That being said, I got family coming over on Saturday. And it's gonna be most Saturday plans, so. Don't ask me why I have this content currently scrolling past online. But I've entered a weird subgenre of I don't know what you'd call it. Just people, weird subgenre of people, who are just obsessed with Ireland. And I'd like to go to Ireland at one point. But that's because it just seems quiet. As opposed to being, I guess, a weeb for Ireland. I did see a post literally calling them that. So. I just think it seems like a nice place where I might be able to disappear for a small bit. So. That's more my prerogative than I don't know. I forget the. I'm trying to think. What's the word? I want to say aggregate. That's not it. Assimilate. I guess I'm thinking of assimilate into Irish society. That doesn't feel right either. Entire land of Ire sounds chill. Well, when you put it like that. Alright. Gotta draw boat. I was saying in the going live message, and I do mean this. Looking back on the comic, one of the things I'm most proud of is how I've drawn the boat so far. But I've only really drawn the Wallop Brothers ship. Like, I haven't drawn many other boats in detail. Which I would like to change at some point soon. Soonish, I guess. Because boats are cool. I like boats. Draw a good boat. Well, you're a good friend, Pig. Got him. Ha. Fucking got him. Oh my lord. I feel like CSP is acting up, but also I am getting closer to getting a new PC, I promise. I'm not just talking about it and doing nothing about it. It's just, for me, it's just a matter of getting money in order, you know? So. But we are inching our way closer to that. Oh my, there's... I love starting stream and I can just hear a ruckus upstairs. This whole bunch of thing. You know, because I literally opened stream being like, I'm sleepy. Here's the thing. Those people I dog sit for, which I've mentioned a few times on stream, they're like, hey, we're going to be out for the day. Would you mind just swinging by after work, checking on the pup for us? And I said, of course. I love that pup. Right? You follow me so far? Okay, good. Fucking, I just kind of sat there for 2 hours. Just doing random shit. And I was like, I probably could have and should have taken a nap. An after work nap. Because that probably would have been beneficial for me. Also, you know what? We're gonna shrink this. Add it. So yeah, I don't know if... Okay, there's little specks to the side. If I... Maybe if I just take a big eraser, that'll do it. It is so weird what... CSP is a weird program, honestly. I use it for a lot of my digital drawing, but... doesn't mean it's not a weird program. What if I just take big eraser? Big eraser. And hopefully that does it. Unless it's just like, no, it's not on the screen. Alright, back to after work naps. Do you think some people... this has just occurred to me. Bear with me for a minute. Do you think some people are as grumpy as they are? Because there's a lot of grumpy people in the world. But do you think some people are as grumpy as they are just because like, you know, they do hard work and yada yada yada, but they aren't but they aren't able to admit to themselves what they really need is an after work nap? They're like, naps are for kids. No, silly rabbit, naps are for kids. And then they just try and tough it out and are thus miserable because they're always, when are they not tired? I'm always tired, but I'm also always taking naps. So, I at least try to be friendly when I encounter people. I should probably work out a way to figure out how tall to make the mast in comparison to the anvil when drawing it. But I just kinda eye it. So that hasn't been happening. You know, I don't know if I've seen any sloops. When I was looking what ship to give the brothers, I was looking stuff up and it was like Bermuda sloop, and I was like, that's neat, I'll take that. And a lot of them had a square sail up top. I was like, that's neat. I don't know if I've seen one of those in real life. Slooped vessel. What with a square sail. Sailing vessels are cool. I probably don't need to tell chat that, given the specific art I do on a regular basis. That those are my feelings, but we'll say it anyway. Splish. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Also, let me, oh lord. Yeah, I was not happy. I was saying before, you know, going in after a decently long time away from Jorb wasn't the happiest to return. But more so, I did just kind of want to hang and fucking write things down that I was thinking about. And you can't do that as much at a job when you're, you know, running around the entire time. was like, beans. I just want to put some things down in my notebook. Nope. Not happening. Ow. And wrong one. It's just annoying me thinking about those dots where I couldn't find them. Mother. How? Where are they? I'm guessing they. How are there more dots? I'm going crazy. Up. Edit. I need to stop. We're not going to get any work done. I need to get back to drawing a boat. Let me look up boat cresting waves. Honestly, this one's pretty good. There's one in the Arctic. I wouldn't mind going sailing in the Arctic Sea. I feel like for me it would just depend on what I'd be having to do on the boat itself. But rough seas I'd be excited to see. So that part would not be as bad to me. I know some people loathe the idea of getting on a big boat and dealing with big old waves. Waves are hard to draw because they just don't fucking because like someone would tell you to like draw a wave and you're like, okay, and then you do like this, but then they're like, okay, but like add detail and stuff, and it's like, what do? You just, is that better? You get what I'm saying? Worst part about drawing ships is drawing the water they're on. Oh, the irony. It's like Bruce Lee said, water doesn't have form. You know? He was talking about art. Bruce Lee, the famous illustrator, you know him. So it did just occur to me. I was talking about like Arctic seas and rough waves, and they are going north in this arc, so. You probably wouldn't be able to tell that by environmental stuff, just because we're going to be going to a bit more of a Japan location than a Canadian one. But any Canadian weeaboos out there, let me know how you deal in the winter. I don't know how that would help art. I was just a random thought I had. No. It's still big eraser for me trying to... I do like me a Sonic. Sonic fun. Sonic fun! I saw it. I should check up on this, but I saw a video that apparently they are actually raising the price of cross-world racing, and I heard, whether or not that's true, I heard it through a video of like Sonic reacting to it and being like, we were this close, you bastards. Honestly, that kind of stuff is also, I just realized I was looking at like a pop-out window, but that might not update, so I was like, bring out a parrot, you got it, Paula. Actually. Nope, okay. I don't think anyone else was chatting. What was I just talking about? Yeah. Fucking... indie games are gonna win by doing nothing. Luigi style. Just as more and more AAA games just shoot themselves in the foot. Is Claire Obscura indie? I don't know. I know it was made by people who used to work at AAA games. At AAA game studios. Ubisoft and stuff. And they're like, hey, Ubisoft, I think, I was gonna be like, they're wasting our talents. But they might have been let go, because, you know, companies are shitty like that. So let me not phrase it as and they were just like, we're wasting our time here, let's go. They might have wanted to stay there elsewise, but it is true that they were wasting their talents because they weren't doing anything. Oh, Ubisoft, that is. And then these guys are like, we're gonna make Claire Obscura, and they did. Wow, I'm here at the Game Awards talking to the director of Expedition 33, Claire Obscura. Now, tell me, how did you get inspired to make this game? Yeah, ever since I was a kid, it has been my dream to make Expedition 33, Claire Obscura, so I did. Wow, incredible! We'll be right back to the Game Awards after these several ads. And then that's them shooting themselves in the foot. Also, again. I wonder if anyone will read my comic and catch on that I've basically given Lindsay here Elizabeth Swan's pirate outfit. Because Elizabeth Swan is goated. That's the king of the pirates right there. Democratically elected king of the pirates. Which is how kings work. We all know that. After Queen Elizabeth died, they just happened to vote her son in as king. You know, like that. It happened, coincidence. You know, it just happens sometimes. We live in a weird world. Oh my lord. Not to shout out the bots or anything, but fucking... They might still be doing this, I don't know, because I don't actively seek out bots and shit. Are they still doing that thing where they're like, hey, your chat seems kind of lonely. Why don't you buy viewers? It's like, are you negging streamers? Is that where we're at? You neg streamers to get them to use your scam? That's wild. What else was I thinking of? Who insulates a Miles? I guarantee you, Paula, they just have, you know, they basically just have it like comb through a dictionary, mash two words together, and then generate some numbers. And that's how they come up with, you know, 100 usernames a day. You know, there's some that still do that, probably. Are they run by different scam companies? Because, I mean, like, I know scams will have the tendency to, what's it called? Like, they get caught, but not like caught, you know, like go to prison caught, because that doesn't happen. That's in fiction. So then they just do the scam again, but with a different name. You think they watch Twitch? Probably not, right? I can't imagine that's the case. If they do, does it make it better or worse when one of their own bots pops up in a streamer's fucking in someone they're watching stream? Are they embarrassed, or are they like, I did that? Rope. Y'all know about rope? It's pretty cool. Also, when I was talking about not having done realistic anatomy in a while last night, this is what I'm talking about. This is not realistic anatomy. What if we just have Chester down here poking his head over? That'd be fun. Chester Sea Cat. He's an old sea dog, ironic. Yes. Yeah, he's heard the jokes before. Boom, 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 boom. I'm tired. What was I just thinking of? I just got distracted. Scrolling through something again. And me jumped it after hearing Rope, but I kind of want to watch that movie again. I haven't watched that movie in years, and I should. Because I remember liking it as a kid. I remember it having a very good adventure feel to it. Which I don't think necessarily a lot of movies actually have. Even though there is the whole, like, adventure genre. I think I've said this before, but I feel like the films that give me the best sense of adventure are Pirates of the Caribbean. Which, I mean, fucking go figure, I like those films. What? There's something you like about Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my lord, I'll say this, not like calling him out or anything. It's just funny. I don't know why I say that a lot, and like it's usually not even a bad thing. I'm not trying to be like, let me expose. what I mean by that is let me not expose my friends, but like literally the moment stream ended last night, Stealth hopped in call and he was like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "Well, I got done streaming." He's like, "Ah." He didn't even know I was streaming. It was more so he legitimately didn't know I was just like sitting by myself in a call. Which, to be fair, like, yeah, it's concerning. Could you imagine? Because this is how I see sitting alone in a Discord call for no reason, like just finding your friend in their room, Blair Witching into the corner. You'd be like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on? Are you okay?" Water. It has been. I will say this a million times. Like, you will always. Chances are, if I'm like out in any kind of slightly warm weather and you ask me how's it's going, I'm like, I wish it would rain. That's like all the time, right? I'm always wanting rain all the time. Fucking. It has been just humid outside for like way too long. Like just hot and humid. I'm just like, if you're gonna do something about it, do something about it. It is nuts. I am so tired of walking out into a sauna. I did not stay in Florida. Oh my lord. Also, you know, speaking of reasons I need a new computer, would love my Mac not to freak out. Anyway, I did not stay in Florida because of, like, specifically this. Specifically because I was avoiding living in sauna-esque weather. There's a section of the hospital I work in that, like, connects the two of the areas, right? You with me so far? Okay. I think they just forgot to put AC in that. I'm not joking. I think they connected two sections of the hospitals they had built somewhat separately. And when they did the connection, they were just like, it doesn't need AC here. Here's the problem. One entire wall of that small hallway area is a window. It's a sunward facing window for half the day. So it is an oven in there. And like a lot of people in the hospital find the hospital cold. I don't, because I like the cold and I'm sweating my butt off all the time walking around it, right? But even they'll typically admit it's hot. I had one lady today who was like, "That's nice." I'm like, oh my lord. That's kind of concerned. Because then I was like, "Lady, I think if you stay in here, you'll need a new kinds of medical attention. Specific to heat stroke. I beg of you not to." I mean, I was the one walking around the hospital, so it's not like she'd be allowed to stay there regardless, but still. I was like, do not seek out this kind of heat normally. It will end badly. Deja when I was texting Deja today, they were literally saying that. Because one of their customers was like, "It's hot." There's like, yeah, You can get heat stroke just by being out for a bit. Heat is a problem. I guess the opposite of that is frostbite. But I was gonna say I haven't known anyone who's had frostbite. That doesn't matter. People still get it. And I don't, and in the same vein, I don't think I've really known anyone who's gotten heat stroke. But I want, like, on average, how much hotter does it have to be to get heat stroke, as opposed to how much colder it has to be to get frostbite? Here in Jersey, I feel like it only has to get a little hotter most of the time for you to get, you know, heat stroke. But you've got to be deep into winter in order to risk frostbite. Like lunar solstice, winter solstice, just no sun, freak accident, Mr. Freeze has come to town. The snow miser has appeared. He's singing the song and everyone's like, yeah, but they don't realize they're getting frostbite. It's hard to notice frostbite when you're talking about jaunty tunes. Lord. I've definitely talked about this before. Slight warning for this. There's a section in the third Pirates movie, which I adore. I adore that movie. Where fucking they're in the Arctic, which is ironic because it's called Pirates of the Caribbean. They're in the Arctic, and a guy just takes off one of his toes because he's so cold, and he didn't realize that was going to happen, and then he was just like, oh. The things that have impacted me over the years. That. Like I said, those are good films. Honestly, like, all respect to One Piece. Obviously, you gotta bow down to One Piece. Because it's legitimately a literary marvel for a lot of reasons. And it'll probably remain that way for years after it's finished, right? People will be like, this is a masterpiece, how do you even do it? But something that, and I think a lot of other fiction that will do, like sailing around, doesn't do enough of, is just like hanging out on the boat as you go somewhere. One Piece does some of it sometimes. I feel like I've seen more clips from the movies, which I haven't watched, of the Straw Hats hanging out on their ship than I've seen in like the comic or what's it called? Or anime. But I that's something that Pirates of the Caribbean, I think, does well. And furthermore, I hope to have in my own comic. Or, you know what? You know what? No, we'll do it. I realized I hadn't had my final caffeinated beverage for the day. And yeah, it's 8 o'clock. They don't have that much caffeine in them. And it's a pick-me-up. I'd say if I feel sick in the morning or bad, I can just call out sick out of work. There's a problem with that, in that, like, I've definitely taken plenty of time off recently between vacation and holiday, but listen, I'm a bit of a gamble, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. If I get sick, it was something besides the caffeine, I'm sure. I've gone on this rant before. I'm gonna do it again. I don't care. But like, I drink caffeine and I scroll on my phone, and so many people are like, "Don't do that," and I'm just like, life doesn't feel wired to allow me to do anything else. I'm sorry. Are you expecting me to read the great works of Shakespeare while while I run from one obligation to the next? That feels more dangerous than what I was doing previously. I pine for slower life too much on stream. I know this is a bad comparison, because even if I was a big streamer, this wouldn't be apt. But still, could you imagine a talk show like Conan O'Brien? Could you imagine him being like, "Guys, I want to get a cottage." I don't think he does that. I'm gonna be real. I don't think Conan schedules time out of his show to be like, "I want this." I want to do that. It would be hilarious if I was like, you know what, I should run my stream more like a talk show. And like week 1, I'm like, and tonight we have special guest Harrison Ford. And I do just have Harrison Ford on the stream. 3 people show up. I wonder if there's any, because I literally think it was last night's stream I was talking about how it's like Harrison Ford doesn't seem to want to be in anything. So, you know, if he wants to chill, I think he should just do that. I do wonder if there's any actors out there who are just like, I don't really care what I'm doing. I'm not looking to be in anything big right now. So if I ask them, it's like, hey, would you like to be interviewed on my stream? They'd be like, sure, why not? Fuck it. I'm just fucking around anyway. I might as well do this. They're not gonna ask me to be in the next Willy Wonka movie if I'm on this kid's stream. So I'll do that, and I will avoid being in the next Willy Wonka movie. Here's something I've thought of, and I know people will be like, Cahill, because it'll seem innocently naive what I'm about to talk about. Does it ever seem to you guys like some people don't realize you can turn down money? You know? Because there'll be, we live in an age where you see headlines that blank acquires blank in big merger, whatever. And a lot of people are like, why would they do that? This is going to be awful. And I mean, the answer is definitely because for lots of money. But to some degree, I almost feel like it's like, do they know? Do they know that someone can come to them and ask to buy something and they can say no? Probably, and that's not very interesting news. So you never hear about it. For many reasons. But sometimes it do be feeling that way. I don't know what kind of stuff I would not give away for any money. There's a few things. I'm not gonna list them on. Alright, stream. Today we'll be listing my most valuable possessions in life. Both material and immaterial. Write this down for later. Now that would be a good bit on a talk show. Host bares his soul and ascends to Nirvana. Alive on air. History was made tonight when longtime talk show host Conan O'Brien listed and let go all his earthly desires and ascended to a higher plane of being. I don't know why the BBC is reporting on this specifically. I mean, they probably would, right? We're aware that there was a live, someone got raptured live on television, but that was in America. So we here at the BBC do not care. On to the weather. Lord. There's I mean, I think this is PBS in America. But learning that, like, channels in Britain are just like the British Channel 1, the British Channel 2, and they do serve different purposes. But, like, rather than having wacky names, some channels in some countries are just like, it is Country Channel 1. Just because it's not it doesn't need a wacky name. We just need to label it so people know which one to change to if they want to watch cartoons or the news. As a child, I've talked about this before too. As a child, I felt that the news and cartoons were diametrically opposed forces. And as an adult, I still feel like that. That hasn't changed. To some degree, when you turn on a television, or honestly, any device giving you entertainment, whether it be streaming, or YouTube or what have you, you are deciding whether or not you'd like to watch the news or cartoons. And honestly, very rarely has the news ever beaten cartoons for me. Gotta be honest here. Lord. I'm either making... Actually, that's fine. I was about to say I'm either making this too thick or too thin. This works. Yeah. Lord. Following up on cartoon stuff, I've seen some like old Cartoon Network stuff, bumpers and what have you, which, by the way, if I ever get like a Glitch Studios thing going or any kind of online production setup going where I'm constantly playing where I'm putting on produced shows and stuff of an animated variety, it's gonna have bumpers, even if it doesn't have ad breaks and if it's online and yada yada yada. Bumpers, cool bumpers are the best. But it just makes me think about how, like, I wasn't necessarily the most upset about Teen Titans Go until it became, like, the only fucking thing. I think that is still the case. You know what? Can we look... there's, like, 2 people here. Let me take the time. Cartoon Network schedule today. Listing guide. Adventure Time, Craig of the Creek, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Gumball. Lots of Gumball. They are doing like a reboot of that. And they're playing... Okay. So it's not as much Teen Titans Go as I was afraid of. Keep moving up. Okay. Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go. It is a lot of it, though. You know, I was calling out Nickelodeon before, being like, hey, anytime you try to do something with your quote-unquote characters, you have to reuse characters from like 30 years ago, which you don't even replay on your own channel, because you aren't making new cartoon shows. At least Cartoon Network is like, one, the network was kind of founded on replaying cartoons, as in like ones that had previously been released theatrically or what have you. And furthermore, they do make more shows. they are able to pull from wider eras than the 90s. And what was I thinking of? Nickelodeon be struggling with that, so. I'll call y'all out. I'll do it. I'm not afraid. Especially because they continue to do stuff with SpongeBob. Which, like, I fell off of SpongeBob a minute ago. I watched it much later than some folks did, and I still like some later episodes. But they've released a lot of more stuff. And it's after Stefan Hillenburg passed away, so... that ain't it. I can tell you that much. That ain't it. I've never watched it. Golden Age, if you have it free with, like, because, you know, I'm not exactly endorsing Cartoon Network here. I mean, not Cartoon, Nickelodeon. Like, if you have it free with something, watch the first 5 or 6 seasons. I mean, there is an easy cutoff, which is the first movie. First season's up till the movie, and then watch the movie, and then you're good, because it is good. It's good television. It's not the news, as we've discussed. And so, like, we're starting good from there. But yeah. Yeah, the only reason I'm like, maybe don't get a subscription service just for that. I mean, there's lots of reasons not to do that kind of stuff specifically. But then also, don't make them think that, like, ah, yes, the eternal sponge giveth us more. So, don't feel highly compelled to start watching SpongeBob. I mean, that's fair. But I'll say this, not about SpongeBob. Good cartoons are good. Like some Golden Age Tom and Jerry. I'd say Golden Age Looney Tunes too, but that's a little dicey. Like, Mickey Mouse has had problems before, but Lord. Looney Tunes have had problems. Or do you know what's a good cartoon? Which also was a cartoon about showing other cartoons. And that, like, I'd love to watch again. Y'all know anything about House of Mouse? The official Disney cartoon where Mickey ran a nightclub. I watched that all the time as a kid. It was good stuff. And they would show short cartoons. There'd be like a plot to shit happening around the club on random nights. And then like they'd show short cartoons in between plot developments. So never a boring moment. Cartoons are just fun. Cartoons are also good because, like, you know, I like making entertainment and stuff, but obviously you can't always be doing like escapism shit. Sometimes you gotta be like, well, gotta do the business. You feel me? You with me so far? But there's plenty of cartoons where it's like short, like 10-15 minutes. So give you a nice quick laugh, and then you're like, all right, I'm feeling better. Let's back to it. Good for breaks. Good for taking a break with. I'll tell you one thing, you can't do that with a Martin Scorsese film. I'm gonna take a quick little break. Watch a 3-hour film. I haven't seen enough Martin Scorsese films to say too many definitive things on it. I saw Raging Bull. That didn't really grab me. If you haven't seen it, it's about a boxer. He's a jerk. And I need to look something up, and this is going to be embarrassing. Director, okay. He didn't do that film. I won't say what film I thought when I was like, did Martin Scorsese direct that? I'll just let chat guess as to what my shame might be. I'm okay with keeping that a secret. We'll never know. Oh, ear itches. And on top of being super hot, I think allergies have just been bad. I mean, I own a rabbit and I am allergic to those. Money Pit? Nah. I was thinking of High School Musical. And before you're like, Cahill, that can't be real. You'll never know. I could have been. Oh my lord. You know what? This isn't a bit. You're gonna be upset that this isn't a bit. I didn't even know this, because I'm bad with celebrities in general. Fucking I didn't realize Martin Scorsese was a voice actor in Shark Tale. You know, Will Fish, Will Fish, Shark Tale. And I'm upset that I learned that. Like I said, I haven't seen enough of his movies, so I'm not gonna be like, I don't have a problem with the man. But I do know he's an artsy fellow, likes to make serious movies, which is the point of the skit, the joke of the sketch that informed me this was the case. Don't know if I watched Shark Tale. Don't. Okay, Paula, if you don't know anything about Shark Tale, there's a lot we could talk about, but the main reason not to is because, I mean, this should be reason enough, but this is just my own personal bias. It's because it's part of that, you know, era of animation, which only I think recently just ended, where like 3D was new. So they were just making a bunch of 3D movies, throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to be like, this will catch on, or this will make us $1 million, right? So what they did with this new technology is they modeled Will Smith's real face onto a fish. And I do think they actually did that for a few actors, but if you know what Will Smith looks like, which I do, it's pretty obvious that he's on a fish in that one. And yeah. I can just end it there. I could say lots more things. Lots of more crazy things about the movie Shark Tale. But I think I'll leave it at Will's Fish. Could you imagine if fucking Shrek, you know, Shrek, was just like the same body, but like the Austin Powers head, like that face on him, photoshopped onto it? It'd be bad. I don't think he'd still be a relevant character, much like how the fish from Shark Tale isn't a relevant character anymore. Lord. You know, I also occasionally see some How to Train Your Dragon stuff online. I don't know why. I mean, I like animations, or maybe that's just why it pops up here and there. Because it's like, oh, he likes this. But like, there's been a few short series about, and I believe they're canonical, for How to Train Your Dragon. And, you know, obviously they're not as well animated as the movie, but I still prefer seeing those over any clips from the live action. Seeing clips from the How to Train Your Dragon live action always feels like they're tricking me. Because a lot of times, for a moment, I'll be like, oh, it's the animated movie, that's good. Because, you know, like, the dragons are still animated. And largely the exact same design. Maybe just an HD model, as opposed to a lesser HD model from before. So, like, that'll be the first thing you see, and it's like, ah, the classic movie How to Train Your Dragon, and then you see like real person waddle into the scene, and you're like, ah, I've been trained. They've played a clever ruse on me. It is, I can't explain it. I know what I said before about the money thing, where it's like, well, clearly they know and they just don't care. Yeah, does anyone bring it up? They can't, right? Like, they do, that it has to be one of those things where, like, if you say it, you're fired. I have to imagine. Because otherwise, someone would bring up, like, hey, you want to make a remake, a live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. The dragons will still be animated. Right? Like, no one says that, because if you do, you are automatic. They just look, they're just like, you have to go now. Oh my goodness. People be dumb. We know that. We know this for a fact. Bitches be crazy and people be dumb. Bitches love cannons. I was talking about Dragon Ball Z Abridged the other day, and like its impact on the fan base for Dragon Ball. Which in part got me thinking about Hellsing Abridged, because I won't fib. I won't tell lies in school. That's a main way I can. That is the main way I consumed Hellsing. I have the collected volumes right here, actually. But like, that's how I found out about this series. And I like it for more official reasons. Like, I love the art they did of it. I think a lot of the designs and yada yada are cool. As funny as Hellsing Abridged is, I wouldn't say there's a lot it does quote unquote better. Which, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say even Dragon Ball Z Abridged does anything quote unquote better than the original series. But for Hellsing, there is one thing, which is the stuff written on Alucard's coffin. Because in Abridged, it's a cool little poem, which plays into what he's been doing the entire time. But in the original, it's like a weird little limerick thing, which from my Googling, I can only tell has only ever been referenced in like one old alchemical manuscript, which is cool. But in terms of little sayings and poems, I think I'm allowed to like the Abridged one a bit more, if nothing else. Boat entrance. Well, that's part. I mean, Paula, that's in the same scene. Which I'm not, you know, I'm only pointing out, because, like, I get what you're saying. But, like, we can all, like, I think that's episode 8. We can lump a large part of that together and just be like, well, this one's the best thing. You know what I'm saying? we can take a wide timestamp of that one episode and say it's better. But yeah. Because, like, yeah, Alucard's funny in the Hellsing Abridged, but I would argue any drama and emotional weight there is largely just as present and well done in the original. So I think Dragon, from what I mean, I could watch 4 series: Hellsing Abridged, Hellsing Ultimate, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, Dragon Ball Z. Like, just watch those and take notes about differences between all of them. Oh no, I know what you meant, Paula, but I'm saying I was like, the one thing I think they did better was the thing on the coffin. And you're like, well, what about his boat entrance? And his boat entrance is cool, but the coffin thing comes directly after that. So I was just saying we can just lump it all in together. That one part of that episode. What was I just thinking of? But yeah, I think Dragon Ball Z Abridged ended up changing a bit more in terms of certain characters and dramatic things. Like, it's all largely the same, but you know. I mean, and also it ends at Cell, so that's enough of change for you. I think part of it is just that in Dragon Ball, the way a character works is so intrinsically tied to the story. You know? Like a character's motivation and inner monologue while fighting is a big part of the story experience. So as such, if you change the characters for more comedic reasons, things change a bit more. But that's not as true for Hellsing. There's lots of interpersonal stuff, but there, like, the whole scheme and yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. That I don't want to say that's more important, but they didn't change it. So also, like, I'd honestly, Dragon Ball has plenty of funny stuff, but for the purposes of Z versus Abridged, like, what I'm trying to say is Hellsing does have its own comedy moments, and they even kind of use a good amount of them in Abridged for largely the same purpose. One of the things that comes to mind is fucking Victoria in the museum. Where the joke is she's breaking up, you know, Alucard and Hamilton fighting by being a tour guide for old people. And guess what? That is the exact same thing as in... They changed the dialogue, but it's the same thing in Abridged, so... I think the most they ever changed a scene in terms of, for the sake of a joke, was, that was a 70-inch plasma screen TV. And that one, they just edited Adventure Time over Alucard's door. It's kind of a weird thing about, because, you know, obviously Alucard in the Abridged series is wacky as heck, but also, I feel like he's kind of ruder. That's not what I meant to do. Workspace, reset to default. Yes, please. That didn't fuck with stream, does it? Hopefully not. It doesn't look like, oh, that's, I thought the line here was my screen breaking for some reason. Anyway. But yeah. In Hellsing Ultimate, Alucard's real wacky, no doubt. But I feel like in Hellsing Ultimate, He can just be mean to me. He's just rude to plenty of folks, except for Integra. I mean, they still have stuff, but I feel from what I remember in Ultimate, I mean, I could probably take the edition I have right here, open it up, and it'll be Alucard being rude to Integra. I know it happens, but compared to Abridged, where he never listens or cares what she says. That's a very different vibe. Art. I was talking about art in Discord. Not my Discord, different person's Discord. Why would you think I'd be talking in my Discord? Today. And someone said they don't like doing line art. And I can kind of get that, but to me, line art's everything. Because as I was doing this, not that I'm doing anything particularly interesting or impressive here, but like I was thinking about how much I love the heavy blacks in Helsing's art. And fucking, that's all. I don't know if they consider that part of line art, but I do. I'm sure some people are like, no, that's inking. It's different. I'm like, okay. Calm down now. Lord, how have I drawn waves? Stop zooming in. Why do you do this to me? What is wrong with you? You weird little thing. Anyone remember how I've drawn waves? Can someone just go grab them for me? Chat, draw this for me. Jarvis. Jarvis, give Hella another buff. But we've given her a buff every season already. Don't care. She's pretty. Sir, you can't keep empowering the goddess of death just because she's pretty. She's pretty. Jarvis, do it. Please, Jarvis. It's my birthday. All right, sir. I have bad news. Ah, is it that your hands are damp? I had my suspicions. Oh, was that you trying to get the waves for me? I appreciate that, Paula. A+ for effort. You did good. They couldn't get the waves very far. Yeah, I should have thought of that. No, Paula. I, as your captain, have let you down. A good leader must recognize his mistakes. Lord. You know, saying that made me think. Birdly in Deltarune, he is annoying. And I would say 90% of the time, he's not a good guy. But also, his thief is kind of good. So you gotta hand that to him. I do think I was thinking about that when we were playing on stream. I just didn't vocalize it. bad news. Worst person you know has a great theme, actually. This is me being greedy with Delta and stuff. But, I fucking love the freedom motif. I know I'm not alone in that. Anyone who doesn't know, there are secret bosses in Deltarune, and they all share a section of the song from the first secret boss, World Revolving. And I cannot wait for the next one. Ever played Repo or have any interest in doing so? I would have interest in doing so. I can't, because still Mac. So, in that case, ask me again in like 2 months. I love to play PC games, what with like Paula and Zayd, because I know he plays a lot of those kinds of games. Or Paula and Zayd. 2 friends for the price of 1. But another reason to get good and functioning PC. So like I won't lie to you, Paula. I will not play games with folks, general. Because not every game, like, hooks with me, right? And as much as I love, like, Fortnite as a game, which I haven't played in a while, but Fortnite as a game where you can just zone out and hang out with people. On the large, I think I do like having a game where I can, you know, have fun and stuff, yada 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 yada. On top of hanging out with folks. But but then there is the added element of needing a good computer, which I haven't had for quite a while, and as such being physically incapable to even try out those games. But I mean, I loved playing Lethal Company when I had a computer that could run it. That thing died. So, Repo seems very much in the same vein. I remembered you were on vacation. I apologize. Being away. On occasion, I am out of reach. Yeah, Repo seems fun. So, but Lethal Company did open a floodgate of slightly cheaper, fun to play with friends games. So again, if and when I get a PC, if you're like, I'd like to do a thing with a bunch of folks, yada yada yada, and it's, you know, one of those games, then I'd love to give it a try, whichever game it might be at that particular time. I mean, like, I don't know, from what I've seen, you can't necessarily be bad at Repo. Like, you can get caught by the monsters a lot, but fucking, you're like a defenseless little guy, so like, what are you gonna do? When I've watched VODs, and I've watched a good few VODs of different people playing it, the only thing I'm like, where I'm like, you gotta be on this, you gotta know this, is knowing that there are multiple extraction points that you have to hit, you know, multiple checkpoints you have to do. You can't just do the one. I've seen quite a few people who just do the one and they're like, we're good, and then, you know, they lose. I was dead for most rounds. That's fine. I mean, that's, you know. The point of the game is that you are defenseless. And that you have to get things in spite of that. So. It can't be too bad. Alright, maybe I should boot up Sea of Thieves again. See if people will come for streams of that. And then also, that's just a way for, like, if anyone's like, I'd like to hop on. Make a short I mean, I have been in a server playing Sea of Thieves, which I haven't hopped in a while. Because again, I barely had a machine that could run it at all, little lone ball for a while. That's why whenever someone is like, Cahill, do you want to do plans? Especially in chat, I'm like, these are the plans I can do. On a technical, temporal, spatial level. This is what I can say definitely to at some point. I'm a bit of an awkward guy. And things get pretty awkward when you say yes to something and then it doesn't work on a technical level and you're just sitting around. And it would be my fault. I've had that happen in private calls before. And I never like it. Even when the person is super chill about it. I'm still pretty upset. So, or that reminded me, because like I tried playing Crunchyroll for someone at one point, because we will have watch parties of different things. Didn't work for many reasons, and then also like that's something I was reminded of not too long, that happened a while back. But then recently, I was trying to do work on my computer, right? And I was like, I'm going to have an anime I'm not really paying attention to, but would still like to read the subtitles of in a pop-out window mode on my desktop as I do this work, right? Because I'm not gonna have like two actual windows open at the same time. I need two monitors. Guess what? It didn't have subtitles. You're on thin ice, Crunchyroll. Fucking no subtitles in a pop-out window. This is your one job. Your one job is to make sure that I can watch animated features from Japan easily and accessibly. That's the entire service model. What are we doing here? Oh, wait, not again. Turn it up. I love how I'm talking about second monitor. This is the second stream in a row where I talk about that. And I'm not getting a second monitor. I do not have the desk space currently for second monitor. And then following that, on a monetary issue, I'm already saving up to get a low-end PC as is. Not spending a bunch of money on a monitor and then fucking not having a place to put it. If you could see my room is cluttered and I like it that way. Some people call it a mess. I try to keep it clean, you know, on like a germ level. I need to vacuum actually. But there are stacks of books and junk around, right? Random pieces of media in piles. Neatly organized piles. So like I already need to get better about that. I'm not gonna start buying random furniture. I can recognize when like yeah, I'm comfortable with this, but maybe it could be better. And I can recognize what would make it worse. It's a throne for a new desk, monitor, and possibly see. Well, here's the, I mean, I would. But one, that's too much money. People, I will be better. I will end up. I'll inevitably end up just having to purchase it myself. Because I'm not expecting anyone on stream to fully fund it. Two, we're doing we're doing charity right now, so I kind of I took out a lot of those features. It was like charity. I will again reiterate, if people want to support me, I'd like them to support the comic, if that's alright, because that's what I'd like to do. So the more traction I can drive towards it, the better. Especially if that means otherwise people are just donating to charity on stream. It's a weird win-win scenario, but I do see it as a win-win scenario. Ha, you fool. I've made you support a charity. And get tricked. Yeah, I'm gonna need to add some hatching here. Good old hatching. Hatching's fun. That's another thing I like about line art, as opposed to doing full colored stuff. In line art, there's a number of techniques and stuff you can do in order to get different effects and what have you across. So it both allows you to represent basically anything, because I mean, people have been doing line art for millions of years. Cave painting is line arts. It allows you to do that, but also it's not like color is a whole different beast of endless opportunities are never ending. I get that's part of the reasons I've just been doing the comic recently. I realize I do kind of need a bit of structure, and a lot of series I like have that. JoJo with stand battles, Yu-Gi-Oh with card battles. Like, I do benefit from structures and working within them in anything like this. And what was I just thinking? And oh, line art. And line art limits the options while also allowing me to do basically anything, which is perfect. And if I want to color something, I can just be like red. That's gold actually, but you know, just do that. Label it. Art's fun. Try a art. I saw a thing the other day. It was someone doing a comedy set, and they were talking about how they as much as they don't like things going on, they can't get with some people who, because they're like, you know, they're just like, I'll do a peaceful thing about it, and it's like, no, get angry. And I'm like, I get it, but also I don't do art because I'm just like, this'll fix it. I like, maybe on a very minor small layer somewhere somehow, but I just do it. I do it because cartoon, like I said, cartoons are fun. You know. Like, sure, like, I could stop, but... Is anyone gonna be happier because of that? Probably not. Not even that my thing is that big a... Not even that my comic's that big of a deal, it's just that... It wouldn't make things better for me not to do it. So... Even if there's something else I should be doing, I can just put it on pause for a little bit as I do that, and then get right back to it, so... You know what, maybe we should color in the mast right here. Make that a thick black line. I think that would be good. Yeah, I think that helps. Helps to illustrate it as a solid object behind the more, you know, flimsy sails. Yeah. I don't know if I talked about this before. I might have. There is an artist on Blue Sky Follow who is having thoughts like that. It's like, I don't know if I can... I'm getting really bummed, and I don't know if doing art's good right now, but it's like... I was not alone in telling them. It's just like, fucking... You know... Things will just be sadder if you don't, so... Of the two options... It's weird, but it's a weird, it can be a weird niche to recognize and exist in. Cause like, and I'm not even, again, not that I'm this big deal or whatever, but like art plays plenty of roles in history and shit. So there's plenty of evidence that, you know, it has some decent importance. So it's not like everyone can... It's not like it's a good idea for everyone just to decide. Nope. No more. Why did I start talking about this again? That's probably just say it. Probably just because I started saying I like doing art. Art. Mousely? I know I remember doing one stream as like a challenge where I did hard mode Resident Evil 2, and I played through Resident Evil 2 entirely before. I kind of wanted to replay it, which I said before, and people are like, yeah. But and then also play 4 afterwards. I could just play 3 instead, because we did 1, and that's Jill's story, so... Jill Valentine. You might have heard of her. She was the inventor of the Jill sandwich. Oh, you're almost a Jill sandwich. You're almost a delicious Jill sandwich. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. I could play Resident Evil more, honestly. I do see why so many people like those games. That being said, it's like, outside of experiencing it, a lot of replay value comes in getting achievements, and then and getting in the rewards based off that. And I don't know if I want to do that per se. Put that stress on me. Well, hi, Gary. I'm gonna... For a Cahill PC fun. I mean... I guess you could if you're so determined to. I would like to point hand at charity again. Not... Again, if you're like, no, we have to do Cahill thing first. That's fine. I'm not trying to be like, no, it's not about me, you know. Just genuinely. Like, you can, but feel no pressure in doing so. I'd cry. I'd shit myself. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of my shit for you. Oh, monsters in Undertale. Well, that was mean, Greg. You shouldn't have done that. I'll say it. Lord. It's weird. Because it's like, on one hand, I'm not like, I can't believe anyone would do the genocide route in Undertale. But then it also feels weird thinking about people being like, it's just pixel. You know? That might just be me getting too invested in what Toby Fox is doing. Because I've said before, Toby Fox does his dangest to make you care about pixels. Not the Adam Sandler movie. Not the Adam Sandler movie, where he's friends with Kevin James, who is the president. Like, there's a weird gray area in there. I don't know if anyone else gets what I'm saying here. With a JPEG. I don't know. Maybe... I do wonder if there's like any psychiatry research on that. Granted, I'm not about to be like, video games cause violence. Hell no. But rather, someone's ability to detach themselves from like a piece of fiction and the emotions it's trying to represent and what that correlates to in real life, because I don't think it's one-to-one, but it's interesting. Honestly, that might not be researched at all, because people are just like, video games cause violence. So, like, causes violence. Are things fucking up? Give me 1 second. Have we lost a bunch of frames? No. Looking okay so far. Granted, I mean, like, again, my computer's not the best regardless. I was looking at FPS and I was like, well, that's not great, but it's never great. So, oh wait, let me take it off the screen. I pulled up a bunch of technical stuff, so I didn't want you to see it. But yeah, no. So to clarify my thoughts, because I was talking about this weird gray space, right? I get attached to the fiction being told in these games, right? Okay, that's fine. And some people are able to detach themselves enough that then they go and do like the genocide route because they've seen it and they want to do it, and like that's fine. But I wonder if there's any research in being able to or not being able to. Well, it's not that I'm not able to, I just don't feel like doing genocide route. Detach yourself from fiction or stories and just being like, I feel nothing. Granted, that might be a hard experiment to run in general, because that would also probably require some objective, measuring of how well those ideas are executed in a piece of fiction. And I don't think that's a thing. I think whether or not you connect with a piece of media is something to do with how you're like wired deep down inside in a nearly irrevocable way. So it'd be hard to find a way to like objectively measure that kind of stuff and then be like, okay, we have the perfect piece of media. Now we use it on test subjects. Also, would they have to go in blind? Like, could you measure that if you were using the twist in Final Fantasy VII as an emotional impact? But then, oh wait, everyone in our test group. This is a dumb conversation. Everyone in our test group has already knows what the fuck happens in Final Fantasy VII. Anyway. I apologize. I was rambling there for a bit. Jack drowned in the Arctic Ocean. Well, I have bad news for you, Greg. Because even with what you were referencing, they weren't in the Arctic Ocean. It was just the Atlantic. It was just cold Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean gets cold. Very cold. Especially when you pour 20 billion tons of ice into it. And when it's, you know, pitch dark outside. Lord, that must have sucked. Like, there's like one video online where someone points out that because of the way it was the night the Titanic sunk, in reality, anyone in the water that night was just in pitch black, especially after the ship sank. That's not the lots of people talk about the Titanic a lot. They don't talk about that enough. That might suck kind of the most. There'd be lots of things that would suck about that situation. Going through it in pitch black, yeah. I'd have to imagine for some people that'd be like the straw that breaks the camel's back, and just like, this is a literal nightmare. I mean, it'd be a little nightmare getting stranded at sea because your ship sank, but still. I will say that happening during the day probably changes a good bit, because it'd be cold, but you'd still have the sun out. Probably have a bit more time for a rescue. And it's not so. Yeah, no, there'd be people yelling until it is silent, and oh, bad. It's weird. It's a weird thing about that, right? Because here's a different art conversation. Tragedy but plus time equals comedy, right? It's not like people don't joke about the Titanic, etc., etc., etc. But if you think even a little bit about the reality of the situation, maybe not a little bit, because, you know, lots of people get exposed to that a lot, so if you think a good bit about the reality of the situation, you're like, wow, that's awful. That's wildly horrifying. Then you're not really ready for jokes anymore. So why am I talking about it on stream? Amazing question. I was thinking about that, because, like, I've talked about the Essex before, another tragic ship tale, and I mean, I know obviously everyone knows about the Titanic, and there's a couple modern day boating disasters that some people are well versed in. I don't know how many like old sailing stories I know about disastrous ships. I could look those up more. The Essex is kind of just wildly interesting. It's a good story. So, even if it's a tragic and horrifying one. Because I was about to talk about the Indianapolis, but Fucking... Maybe the only thing worse than worrying about sharks is worrying about a massive, aggressive whale. JC, pig would die. I don't know if Pig knows about the Essex. We should keep that from happening if we care about him. Alrighty. Well, here's the thing. We're about at the 2-hour mark, and I got this first slightly more... Actually, I'll add some more details. I just might call it a little early. It's been a slower night, which is always chill, but then also sleepy. Gotta get ready for work tomorrow, etc., etc. Even Paula was telling me to sleep, so we'll add some details. And then we might look for someone to raid. But yeah. Yeah, I like boats. Shocking, I know. Oh, it's storming outside. I was telling spooky things I was telling spooky old boat stories, and now it's storming outside. I don't think these work really well. I was trying to see if I could add something extra there, but I don't know. I think just adding a word balloon, which I was gonna do in here, that would be nice. And this is a nice panel. I'm happy with this perspective, honestly. Even though that sail in the back is kind of plain, but eh. It's white sails. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Yeah, me and Paul are having the same thoughts. Welp. Better turn it in. Turn in the old... Hit the old hay. Hay's for horses. And I love sleeping with my horse wife. I had fun though. So nice, but I had fun. So next week we will start. We'll probably do 2 streams of Marvel Rivals next week. New season is out, and like even if I don't end up playing with friends on stream each night, I'll probably try out comp a bit. See if I can get comp up a bit. Playing the horse girl game. I mean, if I wanted to be popular on stream, I don't think that would work. That being said, I do hang out in Bath's Discord a lot. And Bath loves nothing if not gacha games. So I might have a bit of a foot into the market. The thing about the horse girl game is that I only care about that one horse whose name I can picture but I can't pronounce because it's just a lot of vowels. But it's based on the horse that lost 100 races, basically never won, but people loved it. So okay, I think we're gonna raid Miss Cammy Corzette. I would like to remind y'all, because we've raided them before. I mean, you know, that horse just won. Yeah, they had like a, you know, I believe it was like, I think it was their like a, what's the word called when it's, is it exhibition kind of race for retired horses, and she won that one, which is fun. But yeah, I'd like to remind y'all that you might recognize Miss Cammy, but in what as we are in their chat, they prefer to specifically be called camping. So, just a slight reminder for that. Oh, it's really thundering out now. But thanks y'all for being here. Thank you, Paula, Greg. Like I said, I still had plenty of fun tonight, drawing, doodling, and we can hang out next week with some Marvel Rivals, which I think is going to be a good time with like Phoenix and what have you. So yeah, I hope to see you then. Bye!